Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really foundational. We're looking at the core ideas that, well, make internal auditing actually work.
Yeah, think of it like the bedrock principles for any trustworthy organization.
Exactly. And we're going to explore these through the lens of the IIA-CIA Part 1 exam. It's a tough benchmark.
It really is. 125 questions, 2.5 hours. You need a score of 600 to pass, and it's global, offered in lots of languages.
Which just shows how universal these ideas are. But look, even if you're not planning on taking that exam, understanding these principles, it's like getting a shortcut to understanding how the best organizations tick.
Definitely. We're talking integrity, objectivity, how companies check their own work.
Right, control assessment, quality assurance, managing risk, spotting potential fraud, governance, ethics. It's a lot, but it's crucial.
It's basically the recipe for building confidence and, well, effectiveness.
So our mission today is pretty simple. Dissect some practice questions and their explanations from this exam to pull out practical, usable knowledge. We want you to walk away with insights you can apply.
Sounds good.
Hmm.
Let's jump in. Our first question gets right to the heart of it. Integrity.
Okay.
It asks, which of the following best demonstrates an internal auditor's commitment to integrity? A. Reporting all audit findings truthfully, even if unfavorable. B. Avoiding communication with senior management. C. Accepting gifts from the auditee if under the limit. D. Skipping minor issues to maintain good relationships.
And the answer here is A, reporting all audit findings truthfully, even if they're unfavorable.
Right. The explanation nails it. Integrity means being honest, candid. Even when the message isn't popular or maybe politically tricky, you have to report truthfully.
It seems so fundamental, but it's everything, isn't it? If that trust isn't there, if people doubt the auditor's honesty.
The whole function breaks down. It's like,
Yeah.
imagine an auditor finds a serious control weakness but kind of downplays it because they don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah, and then later that weakness leads to a huge problem, maybe a financial loss or a data breach.
Exactly. That initial lack of complete honesty has massive ripple effects. It just underscores that you can't compromise on truthfulness.
Okay, so integrity is paramount. What's next?
Next up is objectivity. Question 2 asks, during an engagement, how can an internal auditor best ensure objectivity? A. Refusing to interact with clients during field work. B. Declining any assignment where personal conflict exists. C. Reporting findings directly to external stakeholders. D. Delegating judgment-based tasks to junior staff.
Okay. And the best answer.
It's B. Declining any assignment where personal conflict exists.
Right. Because objectivity is about that unbiased mental attitude, especially when you're making judgments. A personal conflict, well, it directly threatens that.
Precisely. And it's not always obvious, is it? It might not be a financial stake. It could be, auditing a department run by a close friend or family member.
Uh-huh. Even if you try your best, that subconscious bias can creep in. So stepping away is the cleanest way to ensure impartiality.
Yeah, the other options, they don't quite hit the mark. Refusing to interact, that would make the audit harder, less informed.
Right, you need that communication. And reporting externally doesn't ensure your objectivity during the work itself.
And delegating judgment calls, that doesn't remove potential bias, it just shifts it, maybe even makes it worse if the junior staff aren't equipped. So yeah, avoiding the conflict up front is key.
So identify the conflict, declare it, and step aside. That protects the process.
Okay, let's move to question 3. This one's about checking if things are actually working. Which of the following would be most appropriate for assessing the effectiveness of a newly implemented control?
The options are A, interviewing staff only, B, reviewing the control policy without testing, C, performing tests based on professional judgment, D, assuming it's effective if no issues have occurred.
And the winner is C, performing tests based on professional judgment.
Makes sense. You can't just ask people or read the manual.
Exactly. Reading the policy tells you what should happen. Interviewing tells you what people think is happening or what they want you to think, assuming it works because nothing's blown up yet. That's just risky.
Yeah, it's like installing a smoke detector, but never testing it. You only find out it doesn't work when there's a fire.
Right. You have to actually, push the test button. For internal controls, that means designing and performing tests based on your professional judgment about what makes sense to get real evidence that the control is operating effectively.
So it's about evidence, not assumptions or just documentation.
Always. Which brings us neatly to quality within the audit function itself. Question 4. What is the main purpose of a Quality Assurance and Improvement Program, QAIP?
Okay, options. A, to train new internal auditors. B, to evaluate and improve the internal audit activity's performance. C, to meet financial reporting deadlines. D, to develop IT risk frameworks.
The main purpose is B, to evaluate and improve the internal audit activity's performance.
So it's like internal auditing itself, in a way, making sure they're up to snuff.
Pretty much. It's about conformance with standards, yes, but also about effectiveness, efficiency, and continuous improvement. Are we doing the right things? Are we doing them well? How can we get better?
So while training or IT risk might be part of what they look at.
The core goal of the QAIP is that overall performance assessment and enhancement. It keeps the function credible and valuable, often involves internal reviews and periodically external ones too.
Got it. Continuous improvement for the auditors themselves. Now, question 5 shifts gears to risk management strategies.
Yes. Which of the following actions represents a risk avoidance strategy? A, purchasing insurance against cyber attacks. B, redesigning controls to reduce errors. C, terminating a high-risk project entirely. D, monitoring the risk closely over time.
Okay, avoidance. That sounds pretty definitive.
It is. The answer is C, terminating a high-risk project entirely. Avoidance means you eliminate the risk by, well, avoiding the activity that generates it.
So the other options represent different strategies, right? Like A, purchasing insurance.
That's risk transfer. You're paying someone else to take on some of the financial impact.
And B, redesigning controls.
That's risk mitigation or reduction. You're trying to make the risk less likely or less impactful.
And D, monitoring.
That's risk acceptance, essentially, but keeping a close eye on it. Avoidance is the only one where you say, nope, we're not doing this at all.
Right. You forego the potential upside to completely eliminate the downside.
A big strategic call. Okay, question 6. This one deals with a sensitive situation. An internal auditor discovers unusual accounting entries that could indicate fraud. What is the most appropriate next step?
Ooh, okay. Options. A, ignore it if the amount is immaterial. B, report the issue to law enforcement. C, notify the board immediately. D, gather additional evidence before concluding.
The crucial first step here is D, gather additional evidence before concluding.
You can't just jump the gun.
Absolutely not. Ignoring it, even if it seems small, bad idea. Fraud often starts small. Reporting to law enforcement or the board immediately, that might be necessary later, but you need a basis first.
Do professional care, right? You have a responsibility to investigate carefully.
Exactly. You need to understand what these entries are, why they're unusual, what the potential impact is, gather facts, gather evidence. Then you can make an informed conclusion and decide on the appropriate escalation.
So investigate first, conclude second, escalate third if needed.
That's the prudent path. All right, question 7 moves to oversight. Who is responsible for approving the internal audit plan according to the IIA standards?
The options are A, the audit committee or board, B, the external auditors, C, the chief financial officer, D, the internal control department.
The responsibility lies with A, the audit committee or board.
This seems important for independence.
Hugely important. The audit committee or the full board provides that top-level oversight. Their approval ensures the internal audit plan is focused on the organization's key risks and strategic objectives, not just management's priorities.
And it reinforces internal audit's accountability to the governing body, rather than, say, the CFO they might be auditing.
Precisely. It protects that independence and ensures alignment with the organization's best interests.
Makes sense. Okay, question 8 takes us back to ethics. According to the IIA Code of Ethics, internal auditors should perform their work with A, complete independence and no interaction. B, constant oversight by supervisors. C, honesty, diligence, and responsibility. D, minimal attention to cost efficiency.
The code emphasizes C, honesty, diligence, and responsibility.
Those 3 words again, honesty, diligence, responsibility.
They really are core. Honesty is truthfulness. Diligence is about being careful and thorough. Responsibility is owning your work and actions.
While independence is critical, it's covered elsewhere. And no interaction isn't right. Constant oversight is management, not ethics per se, and ignoring costs, definitely not ethical.
Right. Those 3, honesty, diligence, responsibility, they capture the essence of the ethical conduct expected. They're the foundation.
Okay, nearly there. Question 9 is about looking at the auditors from the outside. What does an external assessment of the internal audit activity typically evaluate?
Options. A, audit report length and structure. B, conformance to the IIA standards and code of ethics. C, individual performance ratings. D, risk appetite of the organization.
So what's the main focus of this external look?
It's primarily B, conformance to the IIA standards and code of ethics.
So are they following the rule book? Are they meeting professional expectations?
Exactly. It's an independent validation that the internal audit function is operating according to globally recognized professional standards. It provides assurance to the board, management, and other stakeholders.
It's not really about judging individual auditors or the company's risk choices, but about the function's adherence to professional norms.
Correct. It's about the quality and credibility of the internal audit activity itself.
All right, our final question, number 10, brings it all together in the context of governance. In governance, what is the role of internal auditing?
What do they do? A, approving operational goals. B, setting risk tolerance levels. C, assessing whether governance processes support objectives. D, managing strategic projects directly.
Okay, their role within that big picture.
Is C, assessing whether governance processes support objectives.
So they're not the ones setting the goals or deciding how much risk to take.
No, that's management and the board's job.
Yeah.
And they're certainly not managing the projects.
They're the assessors. They look at the whole system of rules, processes, and structures, the governance framework, and evaluate if it's actually effective. Does it help the organization achieve its goals and manage risks?
Precisely. They provide independent assurance on the effectiveness of governance, risk management, and control processes. It's a critical evaluation role.
Wow, okay. Considering all these principles, integrity, objectivity, testing, quality, risk handling, ethics, governance assessment, what single aspect do you think is the most critical for building and maintaining trust within an organization? And why?
Good question to ponder.
Definitely something to consider in your own context. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.